Hey guys, what's up? How's everybody doing? Welcome back to another MLB DFS Slate Rundown video here at No Huddle Fantasy Sports. Welcome back to the channel. Today is Wednesday, September 2nd, 2020. We're talking baseball-specific DFS for the main slate tonight. We're talking pitchers, stacks, one-off bats, everything you need for DFS tonight, whether you're playing FanDuel or DraftKings. Stay tuned. This is No Huddle Fantasy Sports. Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to another video here at No Huddle Fantasy Sports. It is Wednesday, so we're talking MLB DFS rundown. Specifically, we're going to be diving in more in depth than typically any other day of the week, where we talk about tonight's main slate action. We have 10 total games available on a main slate tonight for baseball for MLB. That's whether you're playing DraftKings or FanDuel. Both are including 10 games tonight for their main slate starting at 7:05. Whether you're back for another video or this is your first time here, I do really appreciate you guys tuning in, hanging out with me as we talk baseball DFS. But hey, if you do enjoy these videos, if they're helpful, please make sure you smash that like button. But more importantly, please make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We're putting out MLB DFS content every single day through the rest of the season, and we only have a couple more weeks left. We've been dominating this season. We dominated again last night, so all good things here. Just it's absolutely free. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I would really appreciate that. In addition to that, we have NFL just around the corner. We have NFL DFS coming out here very shortly, so all good things. Make sure you are subscribed to No Huddle Fantasy Sports. That's simply the easiest way for you to be better at DFS, whether it's football, baseball, whatever sport we're covering. As I mentioned, we're talking 10 total games for tonight's main slate. We're going to break down those games. We're going to talk about my favorite pitchers, stacks, favorite bats, all the good stuff. The only thing I will mention, there's one COVID-related postponement. That's Oakland playing in Seattle. I will say, last night it was a little bit of an issue, but tonight I believe both sites have completely avoided this game or even including this game on into the lineups or into the their typical setup for the night. So that shouldn't be too much of a worry, but just keep in mind there is one postponement. There's also no Coors game on the main slate. The Coors Field game, that would be San Francisco playing Colorado in Colorado, obviously. That's on the early slate today, so if you're playing that, good luck. We played it last night. We stacked San Francisco. Honestly, it was literally one of my best lineups I've ever put together in baseball. Absolutely crazy. Now, we got 3 home runs out of guys. It was just bonkers, and we even played like lower end guys like Crawford. We stacked Ian Anderson with them at pitcher. It was a crazy night last night, so make sure you're on board, man. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. But we don't have to worry about that, whether we're fading or going with that game. That's all excluded on today's main slate, so that's good. Beyond that, it's a variety in terms of pitching. We have a number of different ways to go. You can pay up for elite pitchers like Scherzer, or you can come way down, mid-tier, low-tier. There's a lot of options in pitching tonight. There's also, on the flip side, a lot of stacks in play, meaning there's a ton of teams above 5 runs projected in the night. We'll talk about that here very shortly, but a lot of stacks in play and a lot of variety in pitching. What does that equal, man? That's an overall solid, great slate for tonight. So I am excited to bring you guys some info on that. As I mentioned, we always got to start with our Vegas totals. We want to just get a quick overview landscape of tonight's main slate. You can see here there are several games, several teams projected above 5 runs. In fact, there's 7 right now, and I'm filming this video. I talk about it all the time. I film these pretty early in the morning, so these Vegas lines will change. Some teams will bump out of that 5-run total. Some teams will enter it, bump into it. I believe the Chicago Cubs have already moved around a lot. They're still above 5, but hey, this is up to you guys. You got to make sure you check your lineups, check your Vegas totals, and check your weather all before lock. I mentioned the importance of that in every single video, and it's especially important tonight. But as I mentioned, you got 7 total teams above 5, and then on the flip side, if you're looking at which pitchers to start or which teams that are, kind of not going to put up a lot of runs, you have 4 teams below 4 runs on the night. So all that is here, but again, make sure you check the changes to these Vegas totals because they will change before lock. And last but not least here, what's the weather look like for tonight? Well, unfortunately, it doesn't look great. There are a ton of options or a ton of games that look like they have the option to show some sort of rain tonight. So make sure, again, you guys check that. I could list literally every game scheduled for tonight. There's a percentage chance almost everywhere. I know where I'm at on the East Coast, it's already raining. So a lot of those East Coast games especially will show some rain today. But again, make sure you're doing the right thing. Get on Twitter, get on Roto-Grinders, get on whatever you have, whatever you want. Just make sure whoever you're starting at pitching especially, but also whatever bat you're playing, they're not going to get rained out or anything like that. So with that said, who are we starting at pitcher tonight? One of the more exciting positions to talk about tonight is pitching. There's two guys I'm really interested in. Yes, I'm not talking Max Scherzer. Instead, I'm going with some more mid-price guys. Actually, Walker Buehler here, he's priced up. He's $10,300 on FanDuel. He's $10,200 on DraftKings. So I wouldn't call him mid-priced. He is an expensive pitcher, but he's definitely a guy I'm interested in tonight. He's playing at home versus Arizona. You have to like the at-home pitchers. I always do. It's always a more comfortable scenario. But more importantly, there's only 3.67 projected runs for Arizona tonight. Again, we always like to start pitchers facing teams that are projected less than 4 runs. We check that box here, and ultimately it's an excellent matchup. More importantly, the team that he's facing, Arizona, they've been trading away players. They just traded away Starling Marte, their center fielder, probably their best right-handed bat. Now, Walker Buehler is a right-hander, so that doesn't impact him too much, but nonetheless, you can kind of see where Arizona is heading this season. Trading away one of their better bats is only good news for Walker Buehler here. Now, he's coming off his best 2020 start. He hasn't had the best season. He hasn't lived up to expectations so far in 2020, but he is coming off his best start. He had 11 Ks in his last start. That kind of shows that upside. He is a strikeout guy. You have to like that. And they are a huge home favorite tonight at -190. Again, you couple all of that together. The fact that he's pitching at home, a big 190 favorite. Arizona has a low run projection total. Marte, they're trading away players. All good things that are going to suggest he's in a great spot to go an extended outing, have a quality start, get a win, all things we need in FanDuel. Now, I did mention he's a high K guy. You're looking at 28 to 30% K rate for Walker Buehler. He's projected 6 total Ks for tonight, a very respectable number. I honestly think we can get above that, especially against Arizona. Now, Arizona in 2020 ranked bottom 5 versus right-handed pitching, so that's key here. 89 WRC plus, 307 WOBA, and 150 ISO. All those numbers, like I said, are bottom 5 in all of baseball against right-handers, and that was before, or that included when they had Starling Marte and other players that they've traded. So again, really good things here. Arizona in their last 7-2, I just quickly took a look over the last week. They've been even worse versus right-handers. So all good things. The last thing I'll mention, though, is he did have a blister, so a little bit of an injury risk here. I don't think it's aggravated. They say he's good to go here, but he's coming off of a blister. So, for a pitcher, that's not always good news. But nonetheless, I really like Walker Buehler. He's my favorite pitcher on the night. Little pricey, but we can make our way around him with some bats I'll talk about later. The other guy I want to mention here is Kyle Hendricks. Again, another guy that's not considered an elite pitcher, hasn't had the greatest season, but he's in an elite matchup tonight in Pittsburgh at Pitchers Park. All good things, in my opinion. $8,300 on FanDuel, $8,700 on DraftKings. So really good pricing, in my opinion, on him. And he's shown, especially in the first start of the season, he has some decent upside. He can really get some totals going. Pittsburgh's projected 4.02 runs on the night, so it's not below 4, but man, it's right at that 4 total. I'm comfortable with that total. As I mentioned, it's an elite matchup versus Pittsburgh in a Pitchers Park. It's a great bounce back spot for him personally, in my opinion. And Chicago here is a heavy road favorite. So he's on the road and he's projected to win, or the Cubs are. Again, I'm checking the boxes. That's what we're doing with pitchers today, and that's exactly what we get here. Now, he is a low strikeout pitcher, so that is a little bit of a downside, but keep in mind, what do we really need here? He's about $9,000. Pittsburgh is ranked within the top 5 in terms of strikeout rate versus right-handers, so that kind of, in my opinion, balances it out. Yes, he's a low K guy, but Pittsburgh kind of gives you that top tier echelon of a strikeout team. They're dead last in 2020. They are really, really bad versus right-handers. Little surprising, they have a lot of switch hitters and lefties in that lineup, but man, they have a 54 WRC plus, 251 WOBA, and a 115 ISO. I talked about how bad Arizona is. This Pittsburgh Power team is just that much worse. Again, dead last. Go ahead, check it out for yourself. Last thing I'll mention here is Pittsburgh is also missing a key bat. One of their better bats, left-handed bats last year, was Brian Reynolds. He should be out. I think he's out. He was out the other night. I think he's on. He just had a baby, a child. So I imagine he's going to be out again tonight. So just more or less power, less opportunity in that lineup to really do damage to Hendricks. I really like him, man. I think he has a great bounce back spot, as I mentioned. Really affordable price. And compared to some of these other pitchers, these two guys just really stand out to me. Okay, let's move on to some bats here. I'll try to speed it up a little bit. Two guys I'm really interested in, Francisco Lindor and JD Martinez. First and foremost, both these guys, in my opinion, are severely underpriced. I understand neither one of them has had seasons like they've had in the past. They're off to slow starts, Will it change? I don't know, but nonetheless, you have to take advantage of elite bats at cheaper prices. That's what we're doing here. Let's start with Lindor at 3,300 on FanDuel, 5K on DraftKings. He is playing on the road, so I always like to take road bats if I can. That's a good thing here. Downside, it's in Kansas City, more of a pitcher's park, but he's facing Junis, the right-hander. Cleveland right now is projected 4.96. I bet that jumps up above 5 if it hasn't already, so make sure you check that. But it's a great price, as I mentioned. He's starting to heat up. He's had some hits in his last couple of games. He's starting to hit for power, all good things. The big thing here is he's absolutely terrorized Junis for the last couple of years. I know a lot of people don't like BVP here, but he has some really good BVP. He's seen him 36 times, or batted against him 36 times. He has 16 hits, 8 of them going for extra bases, 4 of them are home runs, and he has 12 RBIs. Those are monster numbers against one pitcher. He has seen him a lot, as I mentioned. In 2019, he faced him 5 times, or had Junis actually started 5 times against the Cleveland Indians, and he has 3 homers in those 5 games against him. So again, just absolutely terrorizing Junis, has been for the last couple of years. And Lindor in general is just elite versus right-handed pitchers. 349 WOBA, 247 ISO for a shortstop, just incredible numbers. Junis himself, the Kansas City pitcher, yeah, he's been terrorized by Lindor, but he's not good at all versus Cleveland. He has a 6.23 career ERA versus Cleveland. Really, really bad in my opinion, especially for a guy that pitches in a pitcher's park like Kansas City. And then since 2019 versus left-handers, Junis is a 422 xFIP, 354 WOBA, and he's getting hit very hard at a 45% clip. So maybe not the worst numbers we've ever seen, but certainly not a good pitcher. You couple that with the fact that he's so cheaply priced, Lindor is, and he has a great history against him. He's my favorite bat on the night. Moving on over here, I love to take JD Martinez when he faces a left-handed pitcher. That's what we get tonight, especially a lower quality pitcher. $3,200 on FanDuel, $5,100 on DraftKings. Again, same deal here. Especially on FanDuel, these guys are just severely underpriced. So we're going to take advantage of that. That's going to help us fit more expensive pitchers like Walker Buehler in. He's missed the last few games with a wrist injury. He did have an x-ray, came back negative. I read an article today that he's looking good, he's on the right track, and he should be in the lineup tonight. So of course, if he's not in the lineup tonight, if the injury is still bothering him, screw this. Don't worry, just don't start him, right? But in general, if he's going to be in the lineup, which I do believe he will be, he's an elite bat versus left-handers. He has always been. Look at these numbers: 454 WOBA, 349 ISO. Crazy numbers in my opinion. Erlin himself, the Atlanta lefty, he's not very good, as I mentioned. Surrendered 4 home runs to right-handed bats already in 2020. Doesn't sound like a lot, but when you consider he's only pitched 13 total innings versus right-handers, that's a lot of home runs. And since 2019 versus righties, you can see here Erlin has a 465 xFIP, 40% fly ball rate, and 45% hard hit rate. When you combine 40% fly ball rate with a 45% hard hit rate, and you have JD Martinez and you're a lefty, that ball's going to leave the park. That's just my opinion. I think it's a great spot for him to hit 1 home run, if not multiple home runs. And on top of this, Erlin himself, he's largely been a bullpen pitcher. You're going to quickly get into this Boston bullpen, this Atlanta bullpen. I looked them up. They're not the greatest bullpen in the world, so nothing to worry about once we get into that bullpen. I really like JD Martinez, especially to go deep versus Erlin pitcher. Another 2 bats I'm really interested in tonight actually come out of some of the stacks I'm interested in, and that's Max Kepler and Adam Duvall. Again, we're keeping pricing down. $3K for Max Kepler is a steal on FanDuel, $4,200 on DraftKings. He is playing at home, which is a little bit of a bummer. I usually like road bats, but he's playing the Chicago White Sox. Minnesota's a great hitting park. We all know this. And Lopez, the pitcher he's facing, the righty, he's just top of the charts in terms of awfulness. He's lit up everything I've put together today. I do want to attack him, and one guy I want to attack him with is Kepler. Now, Minnesota's projected 5.28 runs. Again, above 5 is what we're looking for, so a great, healthy number there. He has a great split matchup versus Lopez, the righty, so you have a left in Kepler versus Lopez, the righty. Should be leading off. He has led off basically all season long. Top 5 run projection team leading off. All good things there. It really helps mitigate the potential of him playing at home. Now, his price offers a great value, in my opinion. At $3K, you can really get some value out of him, hitting atop of that order. Great numbers versus righties, 338 WOBA, 240 ISO. So you're having no issue with him facing righties at all. We've seen him. He was really hot to start the season. He has cooled off. Maybe something to worry about. But, at $3,000, I'm definitely taking the chance here. And Lopez himself, I mentioned, is not good versus lefties. 6.1 xFIP, just, above 5 is bad. And he has like 80 or 90 innings versus lefties. This isn't a small sample size, but a 6.1 xFIP is just horrendous. 368 WOBA, and he's given up 1.67 home runs per 9. I really like Max Kepler, especially at that $3K price tag. Now moving on over, another team I'm interested in tonight is the Atlanta Braves, and of that team, I like Adam Duvall. He's 2,400 on FanDuel, 3,100 on DraftKings. He just hit a home run the other night. He's really good versus lefties. He's not an elite bat, but he's a really good, minimum price type of bat that you hopefully will be higher in the order too. But he is playing at home. He is playing on the road in Boston. And really, the story here is the Atlanta Braves and Adam Duvall are facing a left-hander named, I think it's Kick a ham around, whatever you want to call it. But he is not good. And I almost feel bad. It's like, he's 31 years old. I have this listed on here. He's 31 years old, and he only has 31 MLB innings. He has pitched a ton in the minor leagues. This guy has maybe finally made his way up. Maybe he suffered injury. I don't know, but he does not have good stats. Look at this. Atlanta is number 1, at least right now, with 5.98 runs projected on the night. So, runs are going to be scored here. They've been scoring runs basically this entire series versus Boston. But he, in terms of Adam Duvall, favorable split here as a righty versus a lefty. He has cheap exposure. That's what you're getting here with that Atlanta elite run total. So he's going to get you a part of that. Career 104 WRC plus, 333 WOBA, and 231 ISO. So he hits for power and he hits lefties very well. Again, he's not an elite bat. He's not JD Martinez, but he's also $2,400. And then if we want to talk about Kickham, there's nothing really to talk about. As I mentioned, he's an older guy, has very few innings in major leagues. His career, for what innings he does have, 475 WOBA, 3.66 home runs per 9 to right-handers. So, that's not a representative sample that I'm comfortable with, but man, he's not good. And we're going to attack him here with Adam Duvall at a really reasonable price tag. With that said, what are our stacks? Who are we going to stack tonight? Well, there's 2 teams, and I just mentioned the 2 guys I want from those teams specifically, but the Atlanta Braves and the Minnesota Twins. Atlanta, again, we're facing that 31-year-old pitcher that has done basically nothing, has barely made his way through the minor leagues, let alone into major leagues, but kick him the lefty here. So the Braves are on the road, always love to take a road stack. It just works out so much better and gives you better chances with more at-bats. But they are the highest team total, at least at the time of this recording. Boston themselves is basically starting anyone and everyone they can at pitcher at this point. Again, this kid's older, but he has a 10.98 ERA, 267 home run per 9, and a very low 19% K rate in his career. Again, I almost feel bad. This guy is just like, hey, you want to throw some innings for us? We'll see what happens. But that's what you're getting tonight, and that's why we're stacking the Braves. The last 14 days, too, the Boston bullpen has been bottom 10, if not bottom 5, in almost every major stat you should focus on for a bullpen. So, again, good things here. This kid's not going to last more than 3 or 4 innings. Once you get into that bullpen, it's still bad. And Boston has had a good bullpen over the years, but they are just stretched out, stressed. They're not getting any length out of pitchers. They barely have starting pitchers. So I think it's a great spot for the Braves tonight. I would stack anyone and everyone. Yeah, you can take your Duvalls, your righties versus lefty here. Keep in mind, this Kickham's only going to last a few innings, so definitely get your Freemans, your elite bats as part of that stack. Flipping over to another team here. Now we're focusing on a home team in the Minnesota Twins. But nonetheless, I really want to attack this Lopez. I did talk about how bad he's been since 2019. So I do want to take a lot of these Twins. And a lot of these bats, switch hitters, lefties for them are affordable, which is really nice. But Lopez, or the Minnesota Twins themselves, they're ranked 15th overall pretty much in most stats versus righties. The key here is they're top 10 in ISO, so they hit a lot of home runs. They did last year, right? We know this happens. That's good here. They're still showing that power. They're still within that top 10 in terms of ISO versus righties. And then Lopez himself, he's awful. He's been awful in 2020. He's awful dating back to 2019. His splits since 2019, I mentioned the 6.1 xFIP to lefties. It's 4.61 to righties, so it's not respectable, but it's not as bad. He's still getting hit hard by righties. 368 WOBA to left, 338 to right, 1.67 home runs to lefties, 1.79 to righties. So he's giving up a lot of long balls in a park where the Minnesota Twins play, target field that is elite for hitters. I would last mention here, he is a fly ball pitcher. You know, the numbers show that. So just not good things. Lopez is going to get taken yard. I know that's going to happen. Let's just make sure we stack the right way here. I'm interested in most bats. I would say a lot of the lefties, a lot of the switch hitters especially. But you can try to get your cruises. They'll probably go lower owned. It's not ideal, but again, you can take almost anyone versus this guy. And so that really wraps up the key guys I want to focus in on, whether it's pitching or bats and the stacks. There are a lot of guys, though. I mentioned it's a great night. You can go a variety of ways. In terms of pitching, if you don't end up with the two I mentioned, there's obviously Max Scherzer. He's not high on. I just don't like the situation. He's pitched well. He's going to throw 40 Ks tonight. It's going to happen, right? I'm going to get screwed, so go ahead and play him. But in terms of facing Philadelphia, he hasn't been. It just seems like he's not the Scherzer right now that we typically expect. And then that Philadelphia lineup is loaded with bats. So I just don't think he's going to pay off for his price. The value's not there. And that's simply it. You know, I'm trying to make sure my value is 5x on a pitcher, and Scherzer's just not working out for me tonight. But I will say, in terms of daily fantasy nerd, the optimizer I use, they really liked Lamet today. He's their #1 pitcher in terms of fantasy points projected. And then a sneaky pick for me could be Jose Barrios, the pitcher for Minnesota. So going the other way. Now, the Chicago White Sox don't struggle versus righties, but a lot of their elite bats are righties. They hit lefties at a ridiculous clip. We always start them. But you do have an advantage, a righty on righty there. Barrios himself is a high strikeout guy, so you could get something sneaky as a home pitcher here. Something to look into if you want to go away from all the guys I mentioned. And as I mentioned, if you want to go Scherzer, there's no issue with it whatsoever. I won't be doing that tonight. Another guy I'm really interested in, I will mention Ozuna, first baseman for Atlanta. Multiple home runs last night. Again, in another great spot tonight. Little pricey, but I would also go with Freddie Freeman. Again, first baseman for Atlanta. So you're going to take up both your spots there, which is a little tough, but it's definitely worth it, in my opinion, to go with as many Atlanta bats as you can. I talked about Max Kepler. I have him highlighted here again. I actually had Chris Bryant versus Holland listed earlier, and I had a lot of the guys listed for the Cubs, but it actually switched now to Musgrove, so that's why I accidentally have Kepler here. But nonetheless, other guys I will consider. The San Diego Padres are projected to score a lot of runs tonight. Mitch Moreland for Boston is now playing in San Diego. He will be playing tonight, so him and Hosmer are great first baseman plays. You can see here, if you want to play the Cubs, they're playing Musgrove tonight. They are cheap. That's kind of the way you go there. I did mention the San Diego Padres are a decent stack for tonight. That could change. I'll update everyone as we get closer. And then the Cleveland Indians are a good stack, a sneaky little snack tonight I would consider. So those are all my other highlights. As I mentioned, I talk about Daily Fantasy Nerd from time to time again. Check it out down below. There's an affiliate link. It does help me out. It's an affiliate link, but I think you get a free month. Man, it's a great optimizer. We've been crushing MLB DFS, and I have to admit a lot of it is due to this Daily Fantasy Nerd optimizer. So please check it out. It's one of the best in baseball. I think it is the best. Affiliate link down below. For all these videos too, every Wednesday and Friday I put out a pitcher's guide. It is linked down below. I post it on Twitter. Make sure you follow me at No Huddle FS. It's an important thing to follow me because I do post my final live thoughts right before lock. A lot of this stuff can change. As I mentioned, a lot of this stuff, the lines, the lineups, all that can change. So I'll kind of post kind of my more narrow thoughts as we get closer, and that's at No Huddle FS. But besides that, man, thank you guys so much for hanging in there with me. I know these videos can get a little long in the tooth, but I'm passionate about this, and we've been killing it. I don't want to change our methods, our ways, but I am appreciative if you guys want to leave some comments, if you want to see anything else, if these videos could be shorter, if there's any additional content you want put into these videos, whatever it is, man, please just let me know down below in the comments. I do really appreciate you guys hanging in there with me, and tonight is going to be another great night of MLB DFS. As always, make sure you smash that subscribe button, give this video a like if it's helpful, and good luck tonight. I'll catch you in the next video.